Today's topic is duct integrity testing. So what is duct integrity testing? It is nothing but a series of tests which is used before cable blowing in order to facilitate your cable blowing. So this comprises of four steps. Okay, the first one is continuity test. The second one is a shuttle or a mandrel test. The third one is a sponge test, and fourth one is the pressure test. Okay, let us cover up each one of that. So first one is your continuity test. I'm just going to write down here continuity test. Okay, in this what happens is, like, let us take an example. You have a duct of say 2 kilometers length. 2 kilometers. So your duct integrity testing machine, or if you don't have it, you can simply use your cable blowing machine also. That will be connected here like this. This will be connected to a compressor. So suppose this is your compressor. Continuity test, what we are checking is, we are just checking whether the duct is continuous or not. If there are any missing couplers or any cuts, we can find out from this test, right? So one person will have to go and wait at this end. Let us say this is end B. Okay, let's say like one person is waiting here. The other person, what he has to do is, he'll be at end A, this side. So when the compressor starts, we have to introduce air inside this. This will be connected to the pressure testing equipment. So once the air is started, the same flow of air should come out from this end. If it comes out, yes, your continuity test is passed. If it doesn't come out, then any of the team member, they'll have to, the compressor will be in start position only. Any of the team member will have to walk along the path of the duct and check if there is any air leakage. If there is any air leakage, they'll have to go open the trench, fix another coupler and rectify the leakage. Repeat, like, after that the continuity test again. And once the air is coming out of this, that means it is passed. Okay, so let us say this is passed. We will move on to the second test, which is the mandrel test. Mandrel test. Okay, in this case what happens is, we use a mandrel. Mandrel will be somewhat like this. Now the diameter of the mandrel is very important. It has to be like 80% of the diameter of the duct. So for instance, if you are using this duct, it is say 40 by 32. 40 is the outer dia, 32 mm is the inner dia. Then the diameter of the shuttle, so this diameter, it has to be 80% of 32, right? So if you look at it, this particular diameter, it will roughly come to 80% of 32, which will be somewhat around 26 mm. Length should be like around 120 to 150 mm should be good enough, right? Okay, so in this test, what will happen is, first of all, the end B has to be secured with a catch net, so that when the shuttle is blown from end A, it shouldn't go and hit the person who's at the end B, right? So first step will be to put a catch net here, which will be used to catch your shuttle or the mandrel. Okay, so once this is done, the mandrel has to be inserted inside this, and then an air pressure of 2 to 3 bars is given. Okay, typically for 2 kilometers length, like within 3 minutes the shuttle will come out from the other end if there are no blockages, right? So if there is a blockage, then there is another way to find out like where the shuttle is stopped. So let's assume that you put the shuttle inside, you blow 2 to 3 bar air pressure, and the shuttle has been collected here. In this case, your mandrel test will be passed. Okay. Now let's assume that at 1 kilometer, somewhere here, there is a blockage. Let's assume that there is a kink like this. Kink is nothing but if a stone is placed on the duct, or a impact impact has happened because of the stone falling on the duct, then a portion of duct will be damaged, so it will be pressed. So in this case, what happens is, you might think like, okay, it has passed the continuity test, so why is failing? So air can flow from this area, okay, but when it comes to your mandrel or the shuttle, it is a solid device, so it will go and it will get stuck over here, right? Now you don't know what is this location, so you have to trace it out. So suppose if it doesn't come out in say 5 to 6 minutes after blowing air, that means it has got stuck somewhere. So in that case, you stop your compressor. Then what you do is, you have a device called as a receiver and a transmitter. Okay, so there is a transmitter which will be exactly similar to the mandrel's body, but inside it is hollow, and you can put the transmitter inside, which will have like the coin type of batteries. Okay, now the transmitter is put inside, and again you blow 2 to 3 bar air pressure. What will happen is, suppose this is your transmitter, it will go and it will get stuck behind this, behind your shuttle. Okay, and then what you have to do is, you have to again turn off the compressor. One person, he has to walk with a receiver, so a receiver will be somewhat like this, like a device. This person is holding it in his hands, and he is walking along the path. So once he approaches this, where the transmitter has stopped, exactly there the receiver will start getting signals, and it will make sounds also, and you can actually pinpoint this location where it has got stuck. And then what you have to do is, you have to kind of open it, cut the damaged portion, take a fresh piece of duct, use two couplers, fix it, and then repeat your mandrel test again. Repeat your mandrel test until you see your mandrel coming out from this end, right? Once this is done, your mandrel test is passed. Then we move on to the third test. This is actually not a test, but this is more of for cleaning purpose. So this is called as the sponge test. Sponge. It's not clear. So sponge. In sponge test, what you do is, like 32 mm is the inner diameter of the duct. What you do is, you take a sponge which is of a diameter of double the size of this, say 64 mm diameter. So what you do is, you again put a catch net, you take that sponge, put some duct lubricant, and simply blow it from here. You can use water also, if you are not having duct lubricant. So what will happen is, this sponge, since it is like double the diameter of the inside diameter, so it will clean the entire duct and it will come out. Okay, so this is like just for a cleaning purpose. So then once this is done, you move on to the last test, which is called as the pressure test. So the last one is the pressure test. Right. So in pressure test, what happens is, I'll just remove this. This is not very clear here. Okay, in pressure test, what you do is, you suppose you have a duct like this. Again, your duct integrity testing machine will be connected to this duct. The end of the duct you will be connecting an end coupler. This is called as an end coupler. So this will actually have a valve wherein you can fit a pressure gauge so that you can measure the pressure what is here, right? So in this test what you do is your end is sealed with the end coupler. In this end you are introducing 5 bar air pressure. Okay, you are introducing 5 bar air pressure. So you put 5 bar. So once this is pressurized to 5 bar, which you will come to know when you see the gauge here and here, both the sides there will be pressure gauges. So once it has reached 5 bar, you stop the flow of compressed air. You wait for 30 minutes. Okay, and in 30 minutes if the drop is less than 0.5 bar, that means your pressure test is passed, right? So in pressure test is mainly done to find out like what is the kind of leakage you are having in your section of duct. You might not be able to fix if there is a leakage of say 0.6 or 0.7 bar, which is considered to be a small leakage. You might not be able to rectify it, but then when you do the pressure test, what happens is you come to know like there is a leakage in this particular section, and then you can plan your cable blowing accordingly. So instead of going for say like a 2 kilometers attempt of blowing the cable, you can think of going for a shorter length, say 1.5 kilometer or 1 kilometer. But if the pressure test is passed, which is indeed the case when the drop is lesser than 0.5 bar. So after 30 minutes, if you are seeing a reading of say 4.5 bar, that means your pressure test is passed. Okay. So this was duct integrity testing. If you want to know more about this, then please I'll be happy to share more information. Thank you.